Next tonight, a conference has been held in Chesterfield today, organised by a group called Access for All UK, to look at how to encourage more tourists with disabilities to visit local attractions. The so-called Purple Pound is the potential spending power of the 13 million disabled people in the UK, and it's reckoned to be worth around £249 billion. Visit England estimates more than £12 billion a year of that is spent on tourism in this country alone, and it's a growing market with an 11% growth rate, outstripping the rest of the tourism sector by more than 100%. Ian White reports on that meeting in Chesterfield amid the attracting more disabled people.
When former miner Brian Frith became reliant on a wheelchair 20 years ago, he thought his days fly fishing were over. But he was wrong. Brian still enjoys his hobby thanks to this wheelie boat, a special craft that's designed for wheelchair users.
I'm enjoying myself. I'm enjoying just being on water. Enjoying the fact that it's, you know, relaxing. It gives me opportunities to rewind the batteries up and get out again and do something else.
The boat is run by a team at Lady Bower Fisheries in Derbyshire. The company realised there was a gap in the market, with so many leisure companies failing to cater for people with disabilities, missing out on a massive market worth £12 billion nationally.
There's always money to be made out of everything, but if you're putting money into something that's this good a cause, so you know, for Access for All is also a great thing to do. People can just come along and have a great time and put money back into the economy that way.
Some of the biggest names in accessibility tourism gathered in Chesterfield for the UK's first conference to see how the industry can tap into the so-called Purple Pound.
Hotels are the biggest bugbear. Basically, you can be told that they've got accessibility, they've got wheelchair-friendly car parking and rooms, but you find you get into a room where there's a bath with a shower in, and that's deemed as, to them, as being a wheelchair-friendly accommodation for you.
The Peak District already has a good reputation for its accessibility, and the potential for business growth is now seen as huge. As for Brian, it was a case of, you should have seen the one that got away today, but he still left the wheelie boat a cold but happy man. Ian White, BBC Look North in North Derbyshire.
Well, earlier I spoke to Ross Calladine, the head of business support at Visit England and an accessible tourism expert. I asked him about today's launch of new accessibility guides.
Yes, the accessible tourism market is now worth £12 billion a year to the visitor economy in England, and that's a growing market. And I think that's for a couple of reasons. One is the ageing population, and the baby boomer market are now getting to retirement age, and they love taking trips and travelling.
It's not possible for some attractions in Yorkshire to be accessed via a wheelchair, so how do you make it more accessible?
Yes, the needs of wheelchair users are of course very important, but they do represent only 9% of people with impairments. So our advice, Visit England's advice to visitor attractions, is to look at all groups, people with hearing loss. There's a good example in Yorkshire, over in Hull, the Deep attraction, who provide quiet days, which are sessions that are particularly suited to people with autism. So there's lots of different ways attractions can welcome the widest group of people possible.
Are there some who still aren't doing enough to attract the disabled customer?
I think as an industry there's always more we can do, and that's why Visit England are taking a lead in providing lots of free support and advice to visitor attractions and visitor accommodation in England. Some things cost very little, like giving information, and venues can produce an accessibility guide to describe and promote their accessibility.
Ross Calladine from Visit England, thank you.
Thank you.